it's Rachel here with Hobby Farm. Today I'm walking you through a video of how to select a good breeding ram for your ranch. We as hobby farmers don't usually need too many, so it's not practical to assume that we're going to go to really large ranches that have all kinds of ESVs and data seeking apps that can show you what you can most likely expect from your ram. So we're going to give you some physical things that you can do whenever you go to a ranch to find your ram to make sure that it's going to perform in the best way possible. Selecting your ram is a really huge deal, and it's not something to take lightly. That's going to be over 50% of the genetics on your future farm. So we're not just talking one baby, we're talking all of your babies are gonna at least have 50% of that ram in there. So whenever you're thinking about things like body conformation and structure and some traits that can be passed down, you don't want to settle for a ram that's going to inevitably pass those things on to every offspring that it creates. At my hobby farm, we raise baby doll Southdown sheep and Harlequin sheep. With our breeding rams, we make sure there are some hereditary traits that we want to make sure get passed down to the offspring. You should understand what breed you're working towards and what that breed standard is. We're going to show you one of ours here and why we chose that, and some general things that you can apply to any ram when you go looking to select your ram.
The general overview of what you're looking for when you're looking for a breeding ram is you want it to be strong, square, muscular, and masculine. So starting back here in the back, you want their hindquarters or their rump to be square and flat. So you want to make sure and look at it from behind and make sure that everything looks good back here. While you're back here, you're going to want to look at their testicles. As awkward as that might be, you want to make sure that they are big and uniform. The size of the testicles is also tied to the rate of fertility, and so you want to make sure that those look good and impressive back there. All right, so moving down into their legs, the cannon bone is the lower part of their leg. You want to make sure that that is long, that it's big, it's thick around, and also that it's straight. These are a type of animal that walk on their toes, and so that is the bone that supports that weight. So if they start getting into where they are pigeon-toed or bow-legged or things like that, that's not something you want, because that is a trait that is easily passed down. All right, so going across the top, you want to make sure that they've got a good top line. You want it to be flat across the top. Obviously, he's kind of hunched over right now because his head's down, but you want it to be flat going into their shoulders, and then you want their neck also to be really wide and strong. You're just looking for that masculine look all the way across their top line into their shoulders and going into their neck. All right, so looking from the front, again, you want to look at their feet and their legs and make sure that they're not turned in or out. They should just be good and straight and squarely underneath the body. Also, when you're in the front, you want to look at their face. There are different characteristics that you're going to look for each breed, but you want to make sure that their snout and their face matches what the breed standard is. But an also thing you want to look at is you're going to look at their teeth. Make sure that they have the proper alignment. Make sure they're not missing any teeth, which is a sign of their age. You're also going to want to check their eyelids, pull down the eyelids, make sure that they're not rolled inward, and make sure that they have a nice red color, which means that they are in good health and they don't have any parasites. Okay, so just general health things that you're looking for is a good body condition. For a breeding ram, you want them to be a body condition number 4. You can look up other videos on what that means. A good rule of thumb is to kind of feel along their rib cage, and if you feel their ribs, it should feel kind of like your fingers. And if you can feel each one of the ribs like you can feel your fingers, then that means they're too skinny. And if you can't feel any ribs and it feels like the top of your hand, that means they're overweight. So you want them to be somewhere in the middle. You want them to be good condition and good health. And then you also want to check their mouth for lesions, infections, anything while you're up there. So this is George. We've had him for less than a year. He's a baby doll Southdown, and this is the first time that he's ever actually been on a leash or a halter or anything like that. And you can tell he's not perfectly still, he's not perfectly comfortable, but he is manageable. And whenever you are looking for a breeding ram for your hobby farm, you do not want an animal that is going to be too hard to handle. So you're looking for one that is used to being around people, easy to handle, because you are going to have to handle them some, and you want them to be a good leader for your flock. So they don't have to be a pet, but they do need to be manageable, kind of like he is here. So in our world of rare and exotic farm animals, which is what a lot of people have on their hobby farms, sometimes you have to go to where the animals are. You find them on the internet, through social media and things like that, and then you have to drive great distances to go to a farm to find an animal. And sometimes when you arrive, you might not see what you saw in the pictures. So one of our big rules of thumb is that the breeder sometimes indicates the quality of the animal that you're going to get. So you always want to be able to go to that place in person. You want to be able to assess the property, the facilities, and also the herd around them. So with a lot of livestock, there are dominant and recessive traits. So just because one animal is impressive, it might also carry some hereditary traits that are undesirable for your specific breed. So you want to look at all of the animals around them. If possible, you want to go back and look at the pedigree and see if any of the animals in that animal's pedigree are on the farm, so that you can see what they look like and what traits they might possess. But as a general rule of thumb, assess the whole herd, the whole flock, because it probably is going to relate to the animal that you're purchasing, and never be afraid to walk away. Sometimes you have to get to a place, you have to see the animal in person, and you have to make the best decision for you, and not just for that day, but for the future of your farm. And sometimes the best thing to do is to waste a little bit of time so that you save a lot of time in the future.